blue Camaros. I always wondered about the colour with this car, but I can tell you now, having just done SEMA, this thing would fit in perfectly. So mate, congratulations. Adam Perry from Perry's Garage. And if you've watched the channel before, you would have seen this car. We had it in steel 18 months ago now, nearly 2 years ago.
Yeah, about July it went to you.
And our role was to put some colour on it, which we did, and then it's come back here, and I'm pretty excited to be able to bring you what Adam's been up to. But I think before we go there, I think it's interesting to know Perry's Garage is like a home-based business, and Adam's only been working on this 1 day a week.
Yep, 10 hours a week is all I aim to get.
Aim to get in on it, and he's had it for...
It's 3.5 years.
3.5 years in total, and
Yep.
since we put paint on it, it's been pretty much 12 months. So it was on its wheels for Summernats last year, and this year it'll be back at Summernats, but complete. And what class and that are we going to run in, mate?
$1 million question, that one. I don't know, I guess we'd like to have a crack at Elite. We'd definitely like to put it through the Elite judging, but we'll see what they say. I mean, the black underbody might stop us there.
Oh, I think it's worthy. There's been plenty of cars in the Elite Hall with black underbodies, but I think looking at the fit and finish that you've been able to achieve on a quite modest budget, and also with a lot of parts out of the box, I think is a credit to what you and the owner have been able to do. And what we'll do in a minute is we'll just walk around and look at some of those things and talk about the whys and the wheres and the how-tos. So it's running, which is good. Where do we start, mate? What was the first job when you got it back?
Back from you?
Yeah.
I guess it was getting it back on its wheels. So yeah, you'd fit all the panels up and everything for us. So it was just getting all that running gear underneath it, so we could have it at Summernats last year on that PPG stand, all closed up, but obviously being able to push it into position.
Yeah, so it's factory rails.
Yep.
And then you've done what with the front and rear suspension?
The front and rear suspension is all out of Detroit Speed, so Jason, the owner, sourced all that sort of stuff. So it's got the Detroit Speed, tubular control arms, sway bars, coilovers, that sort of thing. Still got the standard steering box. It's not built to be a circuit car, a track car, and the feel we're getting out of that box is pretty good anyway. And then the rear, it's got the Detroit Speed theme again, so it's got the narrow, basically the deep tub kit that those guys do, which is a good kit. It comes everything with the offset leaves and even a narrow fuel tank to fit between those leaves. So that's, yeah, so the suspension wise is all Detroit Speed.
We'll get a bit of a peek in there in a minute, but what size rims and tyres have you managed to get in there now with that kit on it?
They're 18s all round, and that's what we wanted to go, 18-inch diameter. We didn't want to go massive wheels for it, because again, that's not the car that we were building. So the rears are, I think they're an 18 by 11, and the fronts are an 18 by 8. And we've been able to, just squeeze that under there.
All right, so that's looking all very good, and we'll have a look in the boot in a minute, because part of that kit was to make a bit of room for the exhaust as well. So what are we running engine-wise? And I know this is, it looks the part, but it's fairly subtle in its design as well.
Yeah, so the engine's an LS2, so it's out of a VE Commodore. So basically all the pollution gear we've had to run is out of that VE Commodore as well. Hoping it might be good for sort of high 500, 600 horsepower, stock bottom end, Higgins race heads, a fairly lumpy cam, and then obviously that Holly intake that you can see. One of the big things with this car is we want to take it over full rego. We want it fully engineered, so that's sort of why I did mention that, all that pollution canister that is in there. So the standard VE Commodore pollution canister, we've managed to mount down the front here. The purge solenoid that's usually at the front, we've mounted that at the back here. We're running the Euro 400 cats underneath it, which from a performance point of view probably will chug it up a fair bit, but it's what the rego guys want.
But once again, it's a car that can be used, it's registered, not over the top. I mean, he's got one of those already, hasn't he?
He has. He's got a 69 that sort of breaks down every second time you take it out, because it's highly strung.
Yep, and this one will be the reliable one. So brakes?
Brakes, just big Wilwoods. Obviously, they do a good kit that bolts straight on. So the massive front rotors you see there with the 6-piston calipers, The rear is a little bit smaller with the 4 pistons, and then we put an E-Stopp electronic handbrake on it too, because just trying to run a handbrake cable on these Camaros.
So just explain that a little bit to me. The E-Stopp.
The E-Stopp, the electric handbrake.
Yeah.
Yes, we put that on there just because trying to run cables.
How does it work though?
Push a button and it pulls the cables.
Okay, well, that's fairly simple. No, that's all right. I mean, it's something I haven't done, and I'm sort of thinking, okay, an E-Stopp, obviously it's electronic, but yeah, not really aware of the circumstances. So we'll have a little peek in the boot here somewhere. Oh, right,
Yeah,
so there you go.
Mounted the actuator down there, and the cables punch through the rear firewall through there, and then enter the, I guess, well, exit the car underneath the rear seats, and then it's a straight line onto the Wilwood handbrake assembly there. So it just saved running that cable all the way from the front of the car and interfering with the exhaust. That way, just everything's at the back
cool.
here.
I like that.
Push button on the dash.
And obviously we got some washers and we got wipers.
Yeah, the
Fully
washer body's
functional.
in there again for rego. Ran out of room underneath the dash. That's why you see it there in the boot.
So you're just showing me as well in the boot here, while we're in here, that you've just been fabbing up some panels there to take the trim.
Yeah, it was something I was going to do after Summernats, but I feel I've got enough time to attack it now. So I had a bit of a crack at doing that one yesterday. Probably only a few hours into that one so far, but just and ahhing at the moment whether we paint them or trim them. I'm leaning towards trimming them just to match inside the car.
Yeah, I think trim's good in a trim.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It'll soften it up.
Bit of carpet, and like you say, he does want to use it. So I mean, you don't want to have something that you're going to knock and not be serviceable. And I noticed, so the trimmer's obviously your last item to finalise.
Yeah, pretty much. A lot of it is done. As you can see, the seats are in there, dash and all that sort of stuff's done. So it's basically just trimming the rear seat and the door cards and just finalising that parcel shelf. We just left that until we'd finalise the rear seat design, just in case we wanted to tie any of that detailing to the parcel shelf.
You just want to run us through a little bit on the inside. So not being a Camaro man myself,
The dash it's Repo 1971 Camaro dash. We're using the Dakota digital gauges, which are sort of a cool looking gauge. They obviously still look analog, but when you fire it up, they all come to life and light up and look really cool. Obviously, one thing for rego we had to keep was
do that. Just flick the switch for me. Go, look at that, like windscreen wipers.
Yeah, please calibrate speed. Yeah, we haven't done the speedo yet. But the shift indicator's in there, so again, that was just another rego thing. We didn't have to mount a separate shift indicator next to that low car shifter. It just gave us a whole lot more readings that we didn't have with a standard dash.
So the seats are something a little bit unusual. What have you been able to do there?
With the seats, that's the style Jason always had in mind, is that style of race-looking Recaro seats. Took a little bit to try find that style that we wanted without obviously paying sort of $8,000-9,000 for a set of seats. So those ones there, we ended up finding them out of a Ford Focus RS, and just convenient that this is an RS Camaro, so the RS has actually worked out all right. So they were just bolted to the Camaro rails, which worked out pretty well, and now we're just re-trimming the rear seat to just tie into those seats.
And the seat belt that I'm looking at, what's that?
That's a factory Camaro seat belt.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, nothing fancy there.
I mean, the thing is with engineering, the more you can leave
Factory, the easier it's going to be.
the easier the whole process is.
Yep.
All right, what else we got to look at? So what's been a bugbear or an easy thing to do? What about wipers? What did you... Because we're still left-hand drive.
The wipers are a good thing. If we wanted a clean firewall, we weren't going for a full bathtub style engine bay. So one thing we did want to do though was move the wipers. Usually there's a big ugly wiper motor sticking out here. Raingear make an awesome system which bolts inside the plenum, and that is bolt in. So that was just bolt the thing straight in. That was probably the easiest part on the car, was bolting that in.
So how you've been finding it doing an American car? Is the stuff you're buying out of the US, is it been pretty good, or has it been a bit of a bugbear sometimes? Oh,
definitely bugbear sometimes. A lot of it is good, but just with this car, I guess from the outside, the only original part on this car is that roof skin. Everything else has been replaced, guards, door skin, 3/4, all that sort of stuff. But we found between the left and the right side of the car, it was like two different manufacturers were making them. They were chalk and cheese. The amount of issues we had to go through. This guard in particular ended up being, it was about 30 mil wider through this section through here. So just trying to get that guard in to match the other side, there was just a lot of work in that itself.
Righto, what haven't we covered? So it went to a local Canberra guy for a tune.
Yeah, went to Dyno Tune in Belconnen. That Scotty there looks after all of Jason's cars, and he's done a good job. So it's been there, it's been fired up. It's got a basic tune in it now. Just so we haven't finished that air intake, that snorkel. So we'll do the final dyno tune just as soon as I finish that snorkel. But it's just good that you can turn the key, start it, drive it.
I thought what was pretty cool with something you've done is you can see right down the bottom a bit of pipe down there. Just tell us about what you've been up to there.
So we're trying to work out what we could do with air intake. We didn't want to have just the standard in-engine bay style air box. I wanted to keep that reasonably clean. So what we did, we looked around a bit and ended up finding out that an OTR to suit like a VT to a VZ Commodore was going to work really well. So we've basically reversed it and mounted it upside down. I don't know whether we'll get the camera low enough to see it down there, but yeah.
I might be too old to get down there.
that's more the point.
So we're going to go from there now up and around to the
basically.
intake?
We'll end up coming off with a couple of 45s out through, come up through here and then into the intake this way.
Righto, very functional. So the radiator and fans and all, what's the story there?
They're Aussie Desert Cooler with the biggest radiator with the biggest fans he could fit in it. Again, he didn't want this thing to overheat. So that's been I guess a bit of a bugbear to make fit. Being such a big radiator and big fans, we did have some issues with the steering box there, but we.
So talking about big, that sway bar. What is that? 32 or 3 mil?
Yeah, it'd have to be at least that.
That's massive.
It's a big sway bar. That was heavy to put in.
Should go around corners, all right. Well, mate, what we might do is open the door up and maybe start it up, and people can hear what it sounds like. One kick, that's nice.
Yeah, it does fire up well.
So what fuel are you running?
It's just running premium 98.
98?
Yeah, just 98.
I always find it interesting that if you get a car that's running nice, it smells different. It smells better than a normal car. I don't know what it is. When they're really on the right tune, they burn the fuel right and it smells good.
Yeah, it doesn't smell rich, doesn't smell overfueled. Ended up putting basically the biggest mufflers we could find in it just to try quieten it down. See, with the 3-inch exhaust and that lumpy cam, having to go through reg, I was a little bit concerned about that. So a couple of big mufflers just in front of the rear wheels, and then there's a couple of big resignators that come over just sort of through the rear quarter there.
All right, we might even take it up on the hoist and have a look underneath. And what are you worried about? It's only black underneath. It's pretty smick looking.
Bit of contrast going on there.
So I'm a bit disappointed to see that the owner decided he wanted to paint the exhaust, because I seen all that in stainless and thought it looked hot, and now it's all black.
Yeah, it was hard to do it, that's for sure. Hard to actually paint it after spending all that time making it look good in stainless. So that's the Detroit Speed rear end that you can see there. So they do a good kit that comes with the tubs, everything you need to notch out the rails, and then the offset spring shackles, and then the narrow fuel tank to fit all in between there. So,
So what, you got another resonator in the back, have you?
Yeah, I was really nervous about getting the thing quiet enough. So I put those in there, but it's all V-band, so you can just drop it off through here if you want and dump it out here.
Make a bit of noise.
I dare say he'll do that the second it leaves his garage.
So the locators, like the rail extensions?
Yeah, so I ended up fabricating those ourselves. Last time we put the Hotchkiss ones in his 69 Camaro, but nothing off the shelf looked like it was going to work with the with the tubbing we'd done at the front there. So I ended up making those just to make sure they went around that leaf spring, and you could still get that leaf spring hanger out.
This is very similar to what I got in my head for the van. You know, everything done nice, but black, silver, and usable, drivable.
Yeah, it's low maintenance. I didn't want to paint that sump or paint either of those sumps, because then you've got to maintain it. Well, it's cast like that, you just keep it clean.
Very nice. Well, absolute credit to you, mate, and I'm for sure you got, what, 41 days to go, I think, to Summernats, so get that trimmer on the job.
He'll be right, that's what he's doing at the moment. He's just sent through a picture of the back seat. It's looking
he's working today?
He is, yeah. He's like me, he only does it part-time as well. So it's that 41 days is probably 10 working days.
So look for it at Summernats. Jason's 71 RS Camaro from Perry's Garage.